Hey everybody, my name is Dennis Wood, and today we're going to be looking at this Fiskars Momentum Reel Mower 10-year tune-up update. Now, those of you who've watched the first video, which is up to, I think, 220,000 views on sharpening, is something that I put out there 10 years ago plus, because there was no videos on basically how to sharpen this thing. And today we're going to take it up a notch. We're going to put some new parts on it, and we're also going to tune up the actual momentum. We're going to look at some hidden secrets inside these rear wheels, so stay tuned. If you like this Fiskars mower, which I do, I've been using it for 10 years, it is a great tool. And one of the best things I can say about this purchase is that recently I contacted Fiskars and I said, hey, the chain's getting a little worn, my front wheels are worn out, I've lost the adjustment knob, where can I buy these parts? Well, I didn't have to buy the parts. They sent them to me, took a few weeks, but I got the parts. Didn't cost me a dime. All they asked for was a picture of the unit. So to Fiskars, I will say thumbs up. Awesome. Awesome service. Doesn't get any better than that. So my enthusiasm for this grass cutting machine has gone up a few notches because of this. Now, just a quick ask, if you're watching this video, something like 97% of you watch these videos, but you don't subscribe or like, and it really helps. It doesn't cost you anything. So if you can take a second to like or subscribe, that would be awesome. Onwards with the video. So today we're going to be sharpening the blades and going over some things that I didn't really, some details that I didn't go over fully in the first video. And we're going to be replacing a few parts. So the parts that I asked for from Fiskars were specifically this little knob, a new chain. This is the old chain, which I've cleaned up. And also these front wheels were done. They lasted 10 years, but you can see they've kind of, they're basically wearing out. And it's a pretty basic wheel. I do like the new wheels a lot better. They are a little bigger diameter. They still fit just. I was a little worried that they wouldn't. It's just one bolt to remove and replace. You can add some grease to the hubs, which I did. But you can see that these wheels are a little bit narrower. They're certainly a larger diameter. They'll probably roll a little better because they are larger diameter over rocks and what have you. So your cutter height, you'll have to make a little adjustment there in terms of cutting height because the wheel itself is taller, but a nice little upgrade as far as I'm concerned. Chain's exactly the same, knob was the same. And let's talk about the chain a bit. Let's look at how to take this chain off. We'll just jump right into this without wasting any time. All right, we're gonna jump right in, pull the chain guard off, take the chain off, and we'll do our sharpening. So first of all, we've cut a couple of, I do believe they are 10mm bolts, just two. So you can take those out. I have a socket here somewhere. Here. I've already loosened these off because I knew that I would be doing this. So we'll just pull those bolts out. There's another one hiding under here. And by the way, the slot right here is, we'll let you get down to the chain to add some lube. But we're going to talk, one of my little secret weapons today on chains that I've been using in the biking world is actually not using oil in these chains, but using lube. Using wax. So we'll talk about that. You can see that this new chain is actually a bit loose on here. That's, the way they are by design. No worries there. I was expecting to see the new chain a little bit tighter, but honestly, I hadn't looked at it in a long time. So not really going to make any difference in performance. So let's go ahead and take this off. There is a link that you can remove, but I'm just going to take this sprocket off and just take the chain off that way. I'm just going to throw on some gloves here. Although one of the nice things about using a wax chain like this is that there's no oil on it, so they're super clean. You can read about waxing chains on Zero Friction Cycling, I believe it's called. It's an Australian website where the gentleman who tests all this stuff shoots some very exhaustive, and I'd say he's probably a little more long-winded than I am, but he's very informative about why you would want to wax a chain versus oil it. Honestly, based on what I've seen with this chain, with the chain that I took off, I think oil is probably going to be fine. It doesn't live a super hard life protected as it is, but a lot of you probably have not even lubricated this. And if you're one of those people who's sort of, you don't remember to do maintenance, then I would just coat this thing in oil and call it done. I chose with the new one to wax. Now, I kind of walked right through there. 5mm Allen key, and there's a set screw right here. Basically, you can just kind of sneak this off. Just watch your fingers there. Just wiggle that. Famous last words. And it'll come right off. And then you don't have to split the chain. That is a wax chain. I will go over basically what I've done to do that. Again, I'm guessing 99% of you won't do this, but if you're into biking and you are waxing your chain, then why not do it for your reel mower? It's lasted 10 years. I'd like it to last another 10, maybe 20. Maybe pass this thing down to my kids, who knows? If this chain comes to you split, there is a link right here. Let's see if we can focus in on it here. Just can be removed. It just slides off. Probably easier just to pull this off for you so you can see. You basically can just push on that and you see this little clip will pull off like so. There's the clip. You just remove this link and you're going to have a bunch of pieces in your hands, but basically that's your chain. So you can see in my hot little hands here, we'll just what the parts look like. It's very easy to split. We'll bring it up there, but basically you're gonna have 3 parts, kind of like the master link, if you want to call it, and the link on the other side, and then the clip. But I want to show you something here with this chain, because this is the old chain, and this is the new one, which I waxed. But one of the things you can look at to measure chain stretch, which isn't really stretch, it's just wear at the pins, between the pins and the rollers. But one of the things you can do is kind of do the bend test, I call it. So you basically going to grab both these chains and you can just look at the level of the amount of sag. You can see that the old chain has quite a bit more sag. That just tells you that there's more wear between the pins and the rollers. Now, I also measured these chains with a chain wear tool. What you do is basically hook these 2 prongs into the chain and squeeze where I'm squeezing, and then basically try and drop this in. And if it doesn't go in, it basically tells you that the chain is good. So this is a 10-year-old chain that's just been oil looped and it was fine. And this one obviously is brand new. So what I would say is that, you know, if your chain's a bit loose, don't sweat it. Just clean it. You can take it apart, give it a clean in some solvent, and then re-oil it. I'll just show you the process for waxing because it's kind of cool. And this is something that I use for my bikes. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, let's look at this rather esoteric process of waxing a chain. For many of you, you can just use oil lube. Use whatever you're using. Chainsaw oil, if you're in a pinch, I think works great. But I don't use any type of oil lube on any of my chains for the mountain bikes and all that kind of fun stuff. I wax them all. So what we're using is basically, you can buy this stuff. You don't have to go through the process of melting. Hot melting is the best way because it completely penetrates the pins and the rollers. But you can buy this super secret chain coating from Silka. It's basically the same as the wax. This is basically a wax that you heat up to about 75 degrees Celsius, 170 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't want to go through all that, you can basically use this and just clean the chain and just start lubing it with this stuff. One downside of this is that if you're in a lot of mud and rain, I mean, the chain is protected, but oil might be a better choice. Again, I don't use oil anymore. So one of the beautiful things about it is that you can take a chain that's dirty, and this is just boiling water. We're just going to put it in here, basically. And all we're going to do is give it a rinse. And you can see here, that chain is going to come out squeaky clean. There's no oil on it. Basically, the hot water just melts the wax off and you're done. And the nice thing about this is that you don't even have to dry it. You can basically, well, that's hot. You can basically, I'm going to just basically remove a bit of water off there. But when you put it in the wax displaces the water. Bob's your uncle. So again, these are just some $20 Walmart special rice cookers that I'm using to heat things up. This thing is heated. I've got a temp probe in there and some automation. There's another video I will do on that if you're interested. But basically, what we have inside here is wax that's heated to, like I said, about 170 degrees Fahrenheit. And the process is pretty straightforward. The tungsten disulfide has settled to the bottom here, kind of caught me off guard. But you'll see as you start stirring it, it turns black. And well, you want to basically, now I've got this chain already hot. Normally you put the chain in here and let it heat up for a while. Just got the wire on here so I don't burn my hands. And that's pretty much it. That's a wax chain. So we're gonna let this cool, and then it's essentially ready to go. And the next time I want to clean this, if I want to take it off, just again into the hot water, into the wax, and you're done. So again, use oil if you don't want to go through this. If you want your chain to last pretty much forever, wax is the way to go. Okay, I've gone ahead and removed the handle, and we can jump right into the process of sharpening the blades, replacing the chain. Obviously, I've got the front wheels on there already, the new front wheels. But we're also going to explore one of the secrets of this mower that I really didn't know about for a decade, and that didn't think about a lot, but you should think about it. It's called a Fiskars Momentum Mower. Why? Well, usually the blade, the cutting blade and the wheels are directly geared together. So if you stop moving the mower, the blade in the front stops. Now with the Fiskars, one of the cool things about it, if we give it a shove here, well, while not grabbing the back axle, you notice the blade keeps spinning. And that's one of the secrets of this, one of the things I really like about this, because if say there's a hedge here and you're going, pushing up to the hedge, if you give it a shove, this thing will continue to cut even though you're not moving. So it's one of the things I really like about this mower. If you're just going in circles with the mower, it kind of doesn't make a difference. But where it really is effective if you're coming into, we'll call it a dead end. And I've got a big hedge in front of my place, so I'm doing this all the time. So how does it do that? How does it drive when I'm pushing forward, but allow me to pull back easily? And the answer is hiding inside these rear wheels. So we're going to explore that. We're going to look at basically how to clean and service those. Something that I'd never done, and something that I wish I'd done earlier on the unit, because I think it's super important. So let's get into it. In order to get to the magic here inside these wheels, we just got a couple circlips that we have to remove. So you're going to need some circlips pliers like this, and they're 5/8 circlips. So if you do happen to distort them, that's what you're going to go get. Just be careful not to overexpand these. So we're going to go in and grab these. So we got a couple of 5/8 circlips. We're just going to really gently pry these apart. You just want to go enough. If you stretch them, then you're going to end up taking this thing apart to replace them. And that's kind of, I can tell you, having just done it, it's a slight pain. There we go. Okay. So you can see I've got a circlip here. You're just going to bring this back maybe 5 or 6 inches. Slide that back. The other circlip's right here. Again, it's a little tough to see in there, but trust me, it's there. Once you slide it back, though, you're going to be able to move this wheel back. Just you may have to rotate it a bit, and you'll notice it's not going to. It's going to spin one way, but it's not going to spin the other. So we just want to bring this back, and then we'll go in here so we can get a bit of a better angle. There's a shiny surface. That's the bearing surface, and we're going to there's just a little plastic spacer here. Okay, I've just got a little screwdriver just to, again, we'll just pull this back a little bit. See, there's a little steel washer. If you have a magnet, you can just grab onto it with that, but the little screwdriver is fine. You've got a little plastic cup sitting right there. Let's see, let's make sure we're in nice and tight. And you can just pry on that gently. You'll see it'll pop out. There you go. That's out. And if we look in there, we're going to see what is a roller clutch. I'm going to get in there, get a tight shot for you so you can see that. So what you got here is a metal case. You've got the roller bearings, which are, again, because I pulled this assembly apart, we can show it to you in better detail. But essentially what happens here, if I just lift this up a little bit, you can see what's going on. It grabs, it rolls easy this way, and it doesn't here. Why? Because there's a ramp. Each one of those pins is in a ramp. I'll throw in an illustration. And it's really quite a simple device. Spin easy this way, grab this way. And if I go back here, you can see on that bearing surface how easy that spins. Now, be careful if you do this. You can see that those will just drop right out. So if you do that, they're easy enough to drop back in. Just basically lift the thing up so the surface is up and slide them back in, but you can just see a few dropped out. So just be careful. Okay, let's just take a look at this roller clutch mechanism on this wheel. Basically, this area of the axle is actually a bearing surface. And you can see if we take this off, we've got this cool little metal insert, which is actually part of a roller clutch. And in my hands here, I have the bearings for this clutch, which basically just slide right in. Now what it's designed to do is spin one way and grip the other. So we get a real good visual. You can see here, it's spinning nice and freely. But if I try to turn it, in this case, clockwise, you see that it locks and the whole axle turns. See that? If we get a view of the back wheel there, you can see spinning one direction, gripping the other. It's a wonderfully elegant little design. And that's the secret behind the Momentum mower, is this little roller clutch. So what I'm going to do is lube this up. I've cleaned this up with some brake clean and basically some of this good stuff. I'm just using a bit of light oil. In this case, this is, it's called Pro X. It's a free hub oil. And it's just a light oil. You could probably use like synthetic motor oil, but if you have something like this, then that would be the preference. And I'm just gonna basically, you don't really go too crazy with this stuff. I just put a few drops in there, and then we can kind of hold this up like so, and you see we got a nice quiet spin and an easy grip. And that's it. Just clean it up with some brake clean. Again, you can blaster, get it right into those, let's get a better view there. Basically blast this out, give it a shot with compressed air, use the light oil. And we'll go over basically, now I've taken this thing apart because I messed up one of the snap rings, but we'll go over doing this on the unit without having to take it apart. There's no need to remove the whole axle like I did. Again, if you do mess up a circlip, it's a 5/8 circlip. And what you have to do, unfortunately, is you're gonna have to just take, to fix it, you're gonna have to basically take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts out and remove this whole side piece. There's circlips on the end here. You'll have to remove the sprocket. Again, same as the front sprocket. And then you can remove the rear axle, slide everything off. But you have to remove this side basically in order to pull this axle out. And it is a slight pain, but whatever. You got to see the wheel exploded, so that's cool. Again, just be careful not to over expand these. Slide them back, the circlip. And you can just kind of use a screwdriver to slide it. And what you want to do is make sure it snaps in. Like so. You hear a little snap when it's in place. And then you shouldn't be able to move either of these wheels inboard circlip. Now, if you take your Fiskars Reel Mower and you know, lift this side and give the wheel a spin, my guess is it doesn't spin like that. But it will once you clean and lube it. So there's your hot tip. Will that make it easier to mow? Probably not. But it will increase the life of the part, because obviously every time that you pull that mower back and push it forward, that roller clutch is working. So lubing it up like that is pretty cheap insurance, and probably will guarantee that you will get a virtual lifetime out of this part. So yeah, sharpening the blades, lubing the chain, probably servicing those bearings is going to be key to keeping this thing for my lifetime. So there you go, hot tip, roller clutches. Who knew? There were 2. There's 1 in each wheel, by the way. But let's go on to the next step of working with the chain and sharpening that blade. So what I wanted to do in this segment is just show you how I've constructed this little bolt setup. And it's just basically a couple clamps and some hose. We'll call it sacrificial hose. We'll just take it off here. Let's see. Okay, here we go. So what have I done? We took the sprocket off. Where's that sitting? This little guy, normally sitting there. Took that off. I did see somebody just put a socket on this, a metal socket. And I'm not sure I'm a fan of that, specifically because when you wear this, or if you wear this surface at all, like the socket's gonna, by default, gonna grab these teeth. And in the world of biking, that's a big no-no. Like any kind of a burr on here is gonna prematurely wear the chain. So my advice is don't touch this sprocket with anything. If you are gonna put a socket over that, then put like 20 layers of masking tape or something over here, which may make it slippier. But I think the use of a rubber hose like this is the way you want to do it. And the hose is reinforced. You can see I've kind of made a mess of this hose because I've had it on there for quite a while. This is some, I think this is fuel vent hose, and it's pretty soft. It's wouldn't be my pick if we come up close there so you can see it. Wouldn't be my pick because it's just a little bit soft. The hose that works well. This is like it'd be like hydraulic hose. It's from a oil cooler, and it's you can see it's gotten beat up. But essentially what I've gotten here is on the drill, I just have a 3/8 bolt, and you can see I put a nut on the, screwed it onto the bolt. So there's a bolt head and the nut, and that just gives us a lot of surface. And basically we've jammed her onto the, or just used a little alcohol as a nice little lube, and basically shove that into the end of the hose. And then the hose, 1/2 inch, by the way, that's a question that we've got a lot, is what size is this hose? It's 1/2 inch ID, which fits over here nicely. So basically it's, you know, here's the setup. So you got basically a hose clamp, the hose, another hose clamp. Let's open this one up so we can actually show you. By the way, these really good wearing gloves when you're doing this, because it's really easy to get a horrible cut out of this deal. And then this basically, you're gonna insert, clamp. Now you have a flexible link that for sure is not gonna damage this piece whatsoever. That's how I'm doing it. 1/2 inch ID, 2 clamps, 3/8 bolt. Let's just go over a couple things we missed on the last go, specifically which fasteners to loosen, to tighten. So these are all 11mm fasteners. There's one hiding down here, it's right below the drill. That's the only 11mm over here. So what you're gonna do is basically back that off, just loosen it, just loose. And this one too, just loose. You're gonna do the same thing on the other side. And then this one, chances are it's already adjusted for a good cut. You're actually gonna bring this one in, and I'll give you an idea of what you're gonna do. Basically, I'm gonna be spinning this backwards. We have the valve lapping compound applied already. The valve lapping compound was just put on with a foam brush. And all I've done is I've gone in, got a little bit of this coarse grit. So it's number 120 coarse grit valve lapping compound, which I think I bought at a local hardware store. Of course, there's our furnace. So one of the fine points of application here, you can just use a foam brush like this one, and you're basically just gonna apply it just along these edges until you see you got a good coating. And you're gonna basically rotate this, make sure that each one of those has just a light layer. You don't have to go crazy. Putting a lot on is not gonna do anything. And once you've got the valve lapping compound applied, we're gonna run this thing backwards. So this would be the direction of cutting. So if I'm facing here, it's clockwise, it's counterclockwise. So we want this to be rotating backwards. And you can see I've got my drill in reverse, I guess, here. And you can see what's going on here. Now, what I've done, I've turned these 2 adjustment screws clockwise. So I had a pretty strong contact between the cutting bar down here, and you'll hear it. Basically, if you run this thing backwards, I'll just hold this up like this. And you can actually, just be careful if you're doing this single-handed, but I'm gonna go backwards just so for the sake of the video, bring this screw in, And you're gonna hear it's gonna get quite hard to turn, and it's also gonna make a different noise. So that is quite strong contact between the cutting bar down here and this thing. And you're just gonna run it like this for, you know, however long it takes to get a nice clean cut on all of these, or a nice clean surface. And I'll show you what I mean here. We're just gonna run this. I'll run it for a few minutes. Maybe we'll fast forward and turn off the audio, but let's just speed this up a bit. Probably best to do this with gloves on, by the way. Reverse. And we're gonna keep doing this. Run her up a little bit of speed here. Okay, let's see if we can get this. Now, if you're gonna run it this fast, I'd be real careful. Almost did. We'll put her into high speed again and gently wind her up here. Okay. I've probably pooched the end of this hose for good, but we're gonna have a good close look here, and you're gonna see basically the cutting bar and these surfaces. So we'll grab a rag here, or a paper towel, and we'll just wipe this off. If we rotate this up a little bit, let's see if we can get a better view. Just gonna light that up. And you'll be able to see at the back there how nice and clean that cutting surface looks. So that's basically what we want. So the last part of this video will be adjusting the clearance between the cutter and the cutter bar. Right now it's super tight because I was using the grinding or the lapping compound and sharpening. I'm gonna back that off and just get it to probably about 1/1000th of an inch or so. We'll do the paper cutting test on there so you can see. And this thing's gonna be good to go for probably another 10 years. So onward ho, let's put her back together. All right, one of the most important things when you get done with your maintenance, in this case, our new knob, new chain, new wheels, is adjustment. And I didn't really do a good job of showing that in the original video. So we'll just go over that in a little more detail. Again, we've got these two 11mm bolts that are located here with the little graduations. We can give this a little turn. You can see we're in pretty strong contact here. And what we want to do is just bring these two bolts out until there's like no contact. And you can see we're spinning pretty free here. And what we're looking for, you want to get some copy paper. And again, I'm using copy paper specifically because it's a couple thou thick. And just cut yourself a bunch of strips from a sheet. I can hear a bit of contact over here, so I could back this off a little bit more. Yeah. And I can hear there's a bit of contact here. Back this off a little bit. Yeah, at some point it's going to be spinning completely free. Now, chances are if you try to do a cut test right now, it's going to fail. And what's the cut test? Well, there's the cutter bar here, this pretty heavy piece of material, which is now, with our grinding process, is pretty well machined to the blades. The whole point of using the grinding compound is you're basically shaping the blades to whatever shape that this is in. This may have a nick or two or maybe bent a bit, but by using the grinding compounds, you're basically truing these two materials, these two surfaces to each other. So I can tell right now, there's pretty much no contact. And chances are if I give it a, oh, actually I lied. It is cutting the paper. Actually, it's doing a pretty good job too. You can see it's snipping the paper here and here, but it's not, it's just folding it over here. So this tells me that I just need to bring this side just a bit more in. So this screw, we're gonna go clockwise with it. Just, I mean, a little bit, like that much. And let's try that test again. Getting a workout here. Okay, it's still folding it over. So we'll just bring that more. Take a new strip here so I don't chop my fingers off. Okay, cut there, cut there, cut there. And you can see, so I'm doing slicing all the way. And if I give this thing a shove, and again, if you're grabbing this handle and doing this, obviously you're pretty close to rotating blades, so be careful, wear gloves. That's about perfectly adjusted. A little bit of contact, you could probably back that off just a hair, but I actually prefer to have it, I'd rather have a more precise cut. So what I'm gonna do now is, and again, I kind of missed this in the first video, is I'm gonna take my 11mm wrench and I'm going to snug these up. Okay, I'm gonna do a bit there, a bit there, and then I'll just snug that up. And I'm going to do the same over here. Again, just a bit. I don't want to, basically I'm doing them both I guess you'd call this graduated torque, so that I'm not causing movement between the cutting, the surface and the blades. And if I give that a quick whack here, you can hear a little bit of contact. I actually don't mind that. In fact, I think some of it is because there's some paper in there. The other thing I need to do is go in there and make sure I have all my cutting compound. But that's pretty good. I mean, it's very light contact and it's cutting everywhere. After you tighten those, like I just did, you're gonna wanna go back in here and check. And just make sure you're getting an easy cut on all cut, ooh, cut. I'd say we're golden. So this is now adjusted, and I probably won't have to touch this again for a season or two. One last thing that I like to do is I like to spray again at the end of the season. I'm just gonna get a little bit of rust check. You can use fluid film or whatever you have on hand. This is what I do at end of season, but I'm just gonna, this is just rust check. You can use fluid film or whatever corrosion you like to use. And just give those a little spray so they don't rust. And that's it. We'll call this job done. Hope you enjoy it. And we'll see if this video gets another couple 100,000 plays. But a little more comprehensive. Certainly apologies for taking all the time, but I think worth it because we have a better idea of the fine points of tuning, a bunch of stuff that I missed on the first go. Well, there you go. One Fiskars mower with a new chain, front wheels, adjustment knob, waxed, super efficient chain with tungsten disulfide nanoparticles. And we certainly have this thing sharpened and tuned right up for hopefully another decade of use. I hope you found this helpful. You may remember in the first video, there's a cheesy ending. I will not disappoint you, so stay tuned. In the meantime, like and subscribe would be very much appreciated. Hope you found it helpful. Enjoy my cheesy ending. The Fiskars Reel Mower. Child's play, even for an 83-year-old. Huh. Hey, Dad! Yeah, you missed a spot. Oh, for the love of Mike. Huh.